My favorite.
It's Judd's Hockey Show.
It is Judd's Hockey Show. If you're a fan of Judd's Hockey Show, AJ Fredrickson and I apologize. We were not on last night for the media postgame show because we were at the Vikings Purple Daily Draft Party that we held at the Fillmore, which was absolutely fantastic, but sometimes schedules conflict, and there's only so much of us to go around. I know that seems unfair, but we are certainly back now with a reaction to the game last night. 5-2 Wild win. AJ, I want to tell you what I think are some of the absolute key ingredients to playoff success, okay?
Okay.
And I think we saw these last night from the team that was the home team. Speed. Speed's got to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Speed. Take away time and space completely from your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Goaltending. Your goaltender has to win the battle. Like, your goaltender has to outplay. A draw is no good. You need to have your goaltender, and yes, he can allow a really crappy goal, which Gustavsson did last night, but you also make huge saves. The Mark Stone save late in the game on the penalty kill was phenomenal. That then basically began the outlet Bogosian through the pass or the puck down the ice for the empty net goal. I believe it was 9 saves while on the penalty kill for Gustavsson. So goaltending, your goaltender must win. And in the last 2 games, it's not close. Adin Hill finally got lifted last night. He's struggling. Gus is not. And then the last thing is in hockey intelligence. You must play, and now you shouldn't take penalties. The Wild took 4 last night. They killed off all 4. They did give up a shorty, but hockey intelligence from the Boldys, from the Kaprizovs, really from the entire team. And in my opinion, going back and watching that game last night, the Wild gets the check mark in every one of these. And that is why they are up 2-1 in this series. You were upstairs in the green room at the Fillmore, though, and watched the entire third period. And when I got up there, too, the first thing that jumped out to me was the speed of the Wild and the intensity of the building.
Yeah, and that was the biggest thing because we were focused so much on the draft for the first period or two. Vikings make their pick, and it timed out really well for me being in a spot that had network television compared to you, where I could turn on the game, kind of lock in on that while also finish up my other duties. And the thing that stuck out to me was this team looks like they have first period legs in the third period. They were outworking the Knights. They were getting to the dirty areas. They were winning puck battles, like the 50-50 ones that sometimes you see them lose, and that leads to them losing games. They were making sure they were leaving no doubt that puck was going to be theirs. It was a very impressive performance. Like, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I know, the drive home after the win from the Fillmore for me was like, wow, this team, who knows, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, well, hold on, let's pump the brakes, because as Dylan Lukes, I know, pointed out last night on Twitter, the last time the Wild held 2-1 leads in a series, they lost both those series in 6. So let's pump the brakes a smidge. You still have Saturday, very important game to get a leg up 3-1 in the series. But based on last night, they look like the better team. Once again, they're still committing defensively to shutting down Mark Stone, Jack Eichel. Filip Gustavsson, despite the blunder, the giant gaffe in the first period, he seemingly late in the game, I think, once again, won them the game. Jack Eichel had a one-time opportunity, I think, with 2 minutes left. I think the goalie was pulled. It might have gone wide. It might have hit the post on the inside and got in. It was a flashy glove save where he couldn't see the puck coming, but he makes it. That's the type of stuff you need. And I think this was something that was written about in the recent Zolgad Substack, which is he has been taking away goals in high danger chances more than any other goaltender so far in the playoffs. He has been rising to the occasion better than anybody else, and that's exactly why the Wild right now hold a 1-game lead compared to, on the other side of things, Adin Hill gets lifted heading into the third period for Schmidt. So they are looking like a team that we saw seemingly earlier in the season when they were healthy. And speaking of healthiness, Kirill Kaprizov, he just continues to look better every single night. And I know that he has kind of shared that he knows he's not 100%. He's, close, but not there. But it seems like every game, it's like, okay, he was 80. Now he's 82. Now he's 85. Now, every game you could see the legs are getting back. The consistency, once again, the first period legs, the conditioning is getting there. He looks more confident that he's not going to re-injure or dealing with pain as much or whatever it may be. They are, last night was a great display of hockey by the Wild.
That first goal too was classic Kirill because he circles the net. He makes it look so simple that it's like, oh yeah, of course. But that's a very hard play. He circles the net. He keeps the puck. He then gets basically high in the slot towards the blue line and throws a puck at the net. A nice shot that goes through because Adin Hill is screened. That's the other thing too is the Wild is going to, and this has been my complaint for a long time in the playoffs with them. They are going to the dirty areas. They are doing the things that you have to do. Matt Boldy's goal, and I believe it was the second period, where he stole the puck from, if I believe I have this correct, Noah Hannafin.
Yes.
And he stole the puck from behind the net. He took it away from him and then comes in front and scores. Like, that's the type of goal that you have to score. It's not supposed to be pretty. It's supposed to be you work your ass off. And Boldy has. I mean, the difference between the two first lines is off the charts right now. Eichel and Mark Stone, to your point, and Barbashev have 0 points in the series. Like, think about that for a second. And now Gustavsson did make a couple of, or he made at least one really nice save on Eichel on the PK. In fact, it was in the third period that he made saves on Eichel and Hertl. And then to go back to that shot by Stone, which was just a glorious chance out front. But I saw this in the Star Tribune this morning. 5-on-5, that line, the Eichel Stone Barbashev line, has been outshot 17-12 and outchanced 19-9. And then conversely, you've got Kaprizov and Boldy, who have been phenomenal. Kaprizov has 4 goals and 7 points. Boldy, which is tied for the league lead thus far in points, Boldy has 4 goals, which is tied with Kirill. So when you look at how these two first lines have played, and yes, there is the context of in the last 2 series that they've lost, the Wild was up 2-1. And in the past 4 series that they've lost, they've been up by something. They've been up in every one of them and lost. So
it doesn't just end now. It's not just like first to take a lead.
Exactly. But, when you look at this, Eichel and Stone and Barbashev will probably get theirs. But as long as they don't now get too much of theirs. But the other thing that I come back to is 2 things. One is Adin Hill is struggling. If Adin Hill finds his game, you might be in trouble. Mm-hmm. But this reminds me of when you were a Tyke in 2003, the second round series the Wild played. So they beat Patrick Waugh and the Avs in round 1, and then they got down 3-1 to the Canucks. And the Canucks, one of their Achilles heel in that series, I forget who the other goaltender was, but they also had a guy, I believe his name was Dan Cloutier, and they struggled. And the goaltender struggled. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Wild doesn't come back from a 3-1 deficit and win that series if the Canucks goaltenders don't struggle. And it feels like ever since then, starting with the next round in the Western Conference Finals in 2003 with Jean-Sébastien Giguère standing on his head age, that almost every time in playoff series, the opponent has had the advantage. So if Adin Hill struggles, that's huge. And I guess he's going to start on Saturday, but he got lifted, and Akira Schmid came in and did stop all the shots he faced in the third. And then the other stat that I found that is intriguing in a bunch of stories this morning was that in 3 games, Vegas has been charged with 6 turnover goals. 6 turnover goals, which is killing your goaltender. They allowed the 4th fewest turnover goals in the regular season. So, I'll say this. The Wild played a great game last night, so I'm not trying to take away from them. Their approach is exactly right, AJ. But I will say this about the Golden Knights. If they're going to give you some help, that's also huge. Turning over the puck consistently in front of a goaltender who started to scuffle, those are the type of things that push you closer to being like, okay, now if that all changes on Saturday, I apologize, but there are things Vegas is doing here where they are clearly through 3 games and basically the last 2 especially, they are shooting themselves in the proverbial foot.
Yeah, and I would say, they might be shooting themselves in the foot, but the Wild, it seems like, at least last night, were pointing the gun at the foot for them to at least pull the trigger, because on the Noah Hannafin goal, Matt Boldy hustles. It's a hard forecheck where he gets past Pietrangelo, is right on the tail of Hannafin, and as he tries to reverse play, to get back to Pietrangelo, he just takes the puck, goes out front, Hill comes off his near side post, and Matt Boldy's able to beat him. That's a skilled guy making a hard work blue collar play. Rewarded. The other one was Marco Rossi's goal where puck is dumped in. Adin Hill goes to work the puck to the far side corner. I think it was Pietrangelo again.
Yeah, it was.
Who it was either him or maybe McNabb. I'm not exactly sure. But he like hesitates and almost feigns like he's going to go to the half wall, then opts to go down low. And I don't know if it was just like he made his choice and that's what it is. But instead of passing it on the ice to the corner, he rifles one high up the wall, gets to Brazeau, who then pinches it off. He kicks it low. Trenton throws it out front. Marco Rossi's there, gets a fortunate bounce. I think it goes off a Shea Theodore's stick. Like, the Wild hustled and forced those turnovers. It's not like the Vegas Golden Knights just said, hey, here you go, have a breakaway on us, like free of charge.
Right.
But yeah, it was bad play mixed with the Wild preemptively, making them make mistakes. One, just really quick, since we're kind of still talking about Adin Hill's struggles here. Last night, this is terrible. Through 40 minutes, MoneyPuck.com is crediting him with minus 2.49 goals save above expected. That's through 2 periods. He is allowing 2.5 goals more than he should have. Akira Schmid comes in, and granted, this is when the Wild should be essentially locking things down, playing a more defensive game. He saved just over a goal expected. The Wild continued to pressure on, and Schmidt came in and obviously whatever. Right. He's there more to just damage control. Not that they were necessarily like running off the game, but when they made it 4-2, it's like, oh, you never know what's going to happen. He kept Vegas in it for a sense, but that's where like Gus, you'd think, and how many times have we seen this team too, where they just take a period off at times late in the season? They didn't do that last night. They stayed true to what their style of game was that they were playing. And that's why now heading into Saturday, they have a 2-1 series lead.
Yeah. Well, and they got to play like this. Like this is how you have to play. Like every single game. This is the thing. The sustainability of this. And if the Golden Knights are going to help you, that's awesome. But yeah, the Boldy. I mean, Boldy's play of late has been. I mean, he's a star player right now. He is. I'd say Kirill's a superstar. Boldy's verging on that. I'm not going to go that far yet, but I mean, he's
in elite territory.
Yeah. He's been fantastic. And that first line has been phenomenal because Ek does all of the work, or I shouldn't say all of it. He does all of the gritty, non-sexy work, and Kaprizov and Boldy clean up with goals. And yeah, the Hanifin play was a marvelous play. I mean, that's the type of hustle that Boldy has consistently lacked, but when he does it, He takes himself from being a very skilled player to being an almost impossible guy to play against because his skill is high enough that the work then, benefits that. And I also think playing with Kaprizov is great, not just because he's a phenomenal talent and can make passes that we just don't see, but also because when you're playing with Kirill Kaprizov, he is a guy who works like a fourth line guy. So if you're Boldy, are you really going to take shifts off? Like, okay, dude, you're not as good as this guy and you're going to take a shift off and he's not. And yes, I was very concerned about what version of Kaprizov that we would get. But I mean, the playoffs have started and he's flipped a switch again now. Like this is way more than I expected, which has been fantastic. And so there is a lot to like here. You know what the one thing is, and I would have loved to have been there last night, but you could feel the energy of the building as well coming through, couldn't you? Like the television.
Yeah,
like,
and I saw
it was crazy.
I saw a lot of like media hockey people saying like the X looks electric. Like not even Minnesota centric media people, national personalities saying like Minnesota looks like it's rocking right now. And and like the third period, we had the TV turned up a little bit in the green room, but like it was raucous, it seemed like in there, especially after the buzzer beater goal in the second where Hartman throws it off Kaprizov's chest. Like nobody sees that coming. Maybe the one time it's great. I appreciate fans yelling shoot at the players.
Hartman, they always yell shoot. I had to look at the clock. That's a hell of a play.
That goes back to your point that you brought up earlier in the season, though, when we were talking. Maybe it was off show or whatever, but why is there not a clock embedded in the boards?
They talked about it because the Winter Classic has it because there's no scoreboard above, and players love it. And it's it's akin to the clock. If you're an NBA player, right, when you're coming down the floor, there's clocks on top of the basket, right? Like the shot clock, all that. So yeah, I don't know why there's not. But Hartman's another guy too who has elevated. I mean, this isn't the guy that we saw. And I warn you folks that this is a guy who comes and goes. So like I don't know.
Don't go falling in love just yet. Yeah,
exactly right. Like Boldy can, and I guess my thing with Boldy is he can play like this as much as he wants. I don't know that Hartman can. Got to give Hines some credit too. So while he didn't make changes, he's doing a hell of a job of threatening players, which I love. Like he demoted Hartman to the fourth line, and then Hartman's like offended, right? Yeah. So he plays this phenomenal game, and Hines is like, okay, third line. Now I still don't like Rossi being on the fourth line, but then after game 2, he's like, I'm going to look at the fourth line and the third defensive pairing. And then he made it very clear that he had some conversations. My guess is like Bogosian's like, I'll do better. And he left them alone. But I mean, the threat of demotion has seemingly been enough. And it's my theory that the threat. So I wonder on the fourth line if he threatened Trenin. Because Yakov, you know what? Here's the scary thing. The dude has some mitts when he wants to, but he almost never uses them. Like once in a while, he'll score this incredible goal. Like the shorty against Washington, right? Or like last night, the pass to Rossi. That's a hell of a play. Like that's a skilled play.
Absolutely.
And I don't know where these go or what happens, but it feels to me like he might have been told, we're considering scratching you. And he's like, oh, no, don't scratch me. I'll come back and play. But John Hines is puppeteering these guys really, really well.
You know, I got coffee with Vinny Hinostroza this morning. He said his legs are feeling really good. You could probably use a rest, huh? No. Trust me. Give me one more game.
I think he was going to make change. I think Hines was going to make changes, and I think he talked to guys, and I think guys were like, "No, we're playing. We just won a game."
Yeah.
But there were clearly some messages sent, which I guess if it's going to work is fine. I still might make a change or two. But and Rossi scoring a goal was, I thought, good for that kid.
Yes.
Good for that kid.
He kind of did he do a lot to set up the goal? Not really. Frankly, it was his two wingers, Brazeau cutting off
But that's what you need from that line. He should be the skill guy.
But of all the guys to then have the puck in that scoring position to then finish it, good for him to prove hey, I'm here. And then, on one side, it's that proves the point, the comment from John Hines where it's we're looking to have Marco inject some more offense into that fourth line. And it's well, yeah, okay, he did that. But also you look at higher up, you could probably use that on a second line. I don't know if Freddie Gaudreau can offer the type of finishing. But, the defensive abilities of the second line that's been my biggest red flag so far through.
I saw the metric.
Yes, it's terrible. They're the worst defensive line in the playoffs right now.
Johansson got hurt last night too.
We'll have to see about that. I don't know if we got an update.
We don't. He got hurt. And I think I saw a tweet. I think he didn't play the last 12 minutes of the game, if I'm not mistaken. But I saw that metric that you're talking about. So defensively, well, and that's another, to me, that's enough to move Marco up to the second line then. Because if a line with Gaudreau is going to be terrible defensively, what would you say you're doing here? He should be a bottom six guy. He should play. I'm not suggesting scratching him.
Yes.
But, I can't have that.
And that's where I think Gaudreau, not a demotion. It's just it probably fits your style better. It's more of a promotion for Marco than it is a demotion for Gaudreau. But then you have it where you have your bolster line, that top line, that's that. But then you kind of have a 1A, 1B for your second line, because then with how Hartman's been playing and how that line's been driving, then with the skill that you're adding. But now who knows? If you hear it's worse than he can't come back, he misses a game or something like that. Is that Liam Ogren time? Is it Vinny Hinostroza time and somebody moves over to the left side? It'll be interesting to see once we hear more about Marcus Johansson.
That's a really good question, because there's some, I would think in John Hines' world that Hinostroza would play.
Yeah.
But Ogren would intrigue me. I still think he's got skill.
Because if it was a third, fourth line guy, then I think Hinostroza is easy. But it's if it's a second line guy, because and granted, he contract extension needed, Marcus Johansson is a second line player for sure. you can't just swap that out with a hardworking guy who doesn't have as much skill. I think Liam Ogren, especially the confidence we saw building in Iowa late in the season, he seems like a guy where if he gets the call, he's going to add or somewhat match what you were getting from Marcus Johansson as of late.
I think the most important question to ask too, if Johansson can't play in Game 3, is this: who is most prepared to fit into the series as well? Because it's so fast and it's so intense. Like you need to carry this into Game 3. Mm-hmm. So like I can't put in a guy that's going to be overwhelmed at all. So I think it's very important because the series, like the Wild played last night like you have to play in every single game. There's no games off. So can Ogren fit into that immediately? I don't know. I do like his skill set, but I mean the playoffs are such a different game and they are so difficult. And it finally appears like a guy like Boldy gets that, but I don't know if you could put in a guy who you like a lot, who's a prospect still, but he's bounced up and down. A couple more things to get to, but before we do that, I want to talk about our friends at Neos Elite Performance. You know what, guys? If you've been former high school star athlete or in college, and now guess what? Aches and pains. I'm going to tell you the experts at Neos Elite Performance can help you. So if chronic pain is holding you back, here's the thing. Neos Elite's cutting-edge regenerative medicine and cellular IV therapies designed to get you going again without invasive procedures. White glove service that's delivered to your home. That's right, no trips to the doctor's office. You don't even have to leave your home because the team at Neos is going to come to you to help you out, get your edge in life back. So if you've got back pain, knee pain, whatever is making everyday tasks feel impossible, stop your suffering. Neos Elite's therapy is designed to reduce pain, restore function, and get you back to doing what you love. Perhaps that's the basketball court. Perhaps that's the golf course. Whatever it is, Neos is going to help you. A lot of former pro athletes have used this. They swear by it because it works. No surgery, no downtime, just results. Check them out at neoselite.com, Neos elite.com. And you will see exactly how cutting edge and how much that they can help you get back on track to get back on the court or the golf course or whatever it may be. All right. So what is your thought about Game 4 now? Because I think this is the turning point game. This is, I think, what they call in golf moving day.
I'm not as big of a golf fan. Yeah, so I like playing it.
It's where you move yourself either up or down the board. Okay. A 2-1 lead is nice, and a really good game is big. And I think the Wild definitely established, and heck, their fans too, established something. But 3-1, you're one game away with multiple opportunities. 3-1, you're basically on the doorstep. Multiple opportunities to wrap it up. 2-2, you're going back to Vegas. Now you could fall down. That's how you lose in 6. So what's your confidence? Knowing what you know.
Knowing what, and for this, I guess I'm going to assume, despite him not playing, I'm going to say, just for the sake of my mind, Marcus Johansson is probably back and playing in what I'm thinking here.
Sure.
I'd say with how rattled, just by, he's looked bad, frankly, Adin Hill. With his level of play, that makes me think, why, it'll be another hard fought game. And I bet you this is the game now where Mark Stone and or Jack Eichel probably rise up in the, to the top of the bowl and probably pot 1, maybe 2. But I still think if they play, they seem to have their groove. They seem to have the horse blinders on where it's we know how we need to play. They're not getting caught up in little things. This goes back to even Game 1 where there was no post-game comments about officiating. It was won by John Hines and kind of that was it. They realized they have a focus on certain game aspects, and everybody seems to be bought in, committed, and it's exactly the right time. People are firing on all cylinders. Confidence is a 7 out of 10 that the Wild probably pick up a win in Game 4. But the thing is I would say Game 4 is it's not a must win, but it's about as must win as you needed. You took home ice advantage when you won Game 2 in Vegas. Now, if you give that back and it's a best of 3, essentially, you go back to Vegas. That's a tough ask to it. You have to at least win 1 more at Vegas. But then if you go up 3-1, it's okay, you got to probably wrap it up at least, like, if you go to game 7, then it's nightmare zone because they have two wins in the bag. They just took one from you at home. All the momentum's their way. Looking ahead to just Saturday, though, I actually really like the Wild a lot. We'll have to wait and see for Marcus Johansson updates. And granted, I don't think my opinion is going to sway too much based on whether he's in or out. He did impact the game a lot last night. He had a very, very nice game up until he had to get lifted because of injury. But I think that the way the rest of the team is playing, especially defensively, they got on the power play a little bit more. Zeev Buium, first off, congrats to him. First NHL point on that assist to Kirill. Logged 14 minutes. Granted, I think like 5 minutes of that were on the power play in 5-on-4, but still that just shows he's not getting benched no matter what now. Like they realize his talent. That's good for him. Everything seems to be coming together at the right time for this team. I really like their chances on Saturday. I don't know about you.
Well, you talked about the goaltending, which to me is paramount. If Adin Hill finds his game is going to change, it's going to sway things quite a bit. He has not. Again last night to start the game, he made a great save. But then the key was the Wild scored 2 goals, including I think 1 on the power play right in the first 7 minutes of that game, and Adin Hill again sort of folded. So I think the start is incredibly important, as was proven last night. I'm so interested in this battle of the top lines because they're going against each other quite a bit.
Yes.
And the fact that if you had told me at the start of the series that Eichel and Stone and Barbashev would have no points through 3 games, I'd say you're crazy. There's no way they had no points.
Yeah.
And so if the Wild can continue to, and I agree with you, they'll get a goal or 2. I mean, no question about it. But if the Wild can continue to contain them and Boldy and Kaprizov continue to play like this, and it's funny because the Golden Knights certainly have the defense to beat guys up, but the Wild is beating them at their own game there. So I like the Wild's chances in game 4. But that being said, I am Bruce Cassidy, and I said this after game 2. Bruce Cassidy's a good coach, and I got to think that there's a counterpunch coming at some point here. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe Adin Hill's just bad, and it's going to be done. But I am so interested to see the counterpunch. I got to think Vegas wins this game, because if they don't, I think it's just over. Like, I don't see how you come back. Well, I shouldn't say that. Two times in 2003, the Wild came back from 3-1 deficits and won. But I don't know what you turn to next. You don't really have, unless a Kerry Schmid starts and stands on his head, which changes the entire complexion. But I got to think that the Golden Knights squeak out a win here, because if they don't, I think they're dead. I don't see any solution for them down 3-1 if their goaltender continues to struggle.
Yeah, I mean, and going based off of last night, I'm going to see if I can actually do this for you. Looking at like depth and whatnot, I really think that the Wild have been able to, like, the depth that I think they have lacked in recent years is now there. So like looking at moneypuck.com, looking at expected goals percentage here, Judd, that is like for all the goals the team scored, how much people factored in. And from my understanding of this is like, when you look at Vegas here, you have a key group of guys who factored into their 2 goals. Then it's a giant gap here. And then it goes Barbashev, Eichel, Stone, Olofsson. Yeah. All of these guys basically didn't impact on any of those whatsoever. The Wild, like, even though Dorofeev up here is close to 100% because he impacted so much, Matt Boldy, who had a great game, he rounds out at 80%. It's much more clustered. It's much more evenly spread because the Wild have had more depth and guys coming forward. And that's where I just think they have the edge. Like, they are top to bottom.
Why is our guy Nyquist so low?
I'll tell you what, I'll just scroll up a little bit. There we go. Now
I don't think he had a great game last.
No, well, you know what? He had the most turnovers on the team and not a lot of ice time. So that's, that's where we're at. But the depth of this team has been, I think, the biggest standout through 3 games, where every line is contributing. Yep. And that was the biggest thing, where especially, and granted, this should not be a surprise, I guess, in a sense, because when you're missing Kirill, when you're missing Eck, it's like, yeah, you probably need to lean on one line. And they were in a position where they could limp into the playoffs and get in. But now that they're healthy and you have essentially full health from everybody's there. Yep. There's no excuse why one line should be taking a shift off. Like, you all have your roles. They're all impacting play. That is exactly why they are now finding success. And even in the game that they lost, they competed, and it was like 10 to 15 minutes where they got outworked and out physical that I think lost them the game. Yep. Since then, it's been 3 straight periods of really good hockey. Like they have been able to put old ghosts to bed in a sense. And now this is why they're finding success. And that's why I'm really excited about Saturday, because I really think that they are putting themselves in a position from their work ethic and just overall scheme to actually win this series and move forward.
I bet Heinze just walks in the film room and pops in that Flames game and just says, "Hey, let's watch this again. See what happens when you don't try."
Just like Vince Papali in Invincible, he reads that note from his ex-girlfriend or ex-wife or whatever. Yeah. Hey, guys, watch 5 minutes of your bad shifts from that Flames game.
Hey, let's watch the Flames game again. But I mean, yeah, they've been, and I mean, Kirill, you're right. Kirill's been just fantastic.
Yeah.
He's been phenomenal, and Bolds has been great, and Eck works his ass off. And yeah, the rest, I mean, when Ryan Hartman's playing like this, like we haven't seen this Ryan Hartman over any type of extended period for years. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're seeing a very, very engaged team, and you create your own opportunities then too, because Adin Hill is partially struggling because you're putting pressure on him, and he can't stop a damn beach ball. So that's great too. All right, we will be joining you. We will be back live after Game 4 on Saturday. Mm-hmm. We promise. Now the draft is ongoing, but I will work it around my schedule this time. So we will join you after Game 4 on Saturday for a JHS/JHS vent line. In fact, where can people send the requests?
On game day, if you want to jump ahead of the crowd and you see something that pops out in the first period and you're like, I'm going to want to talk about that, send an email to jhsventline@gmail.com. You won't get an invite until after we actually go live. So don't be sitting there in the third, why haven't they invited me yet?
Yeah, I hate it.
I'll send it out after we start the show. But then you just got to follow the link, get in the room, and we'll work our way through everybody that wants to share their grievances or their praise for the team.
Awesome. We will see you then on Judd's Hockey Show.